Alrighty, everybody, we are back with the Foul Ball Podcast, presented by the Foul Ball Podcast. And as always, our website for everything related to us is located at foulballpodcast.org. Again, our website is foulballpodcast.org, all one word, all one sequence. And so the time has come for us to talk about the painful experience that we had yesterday while watching the Patriots game. And just as we thought the season couldn't get any worse, it got worse right before our very eyes. And I think I'm not the only one to say this. The fact that I'm still shocked about what the heck happened yesterday out in Las Vegas. And as the Patriots were betting on themselves to win the game with 0 seconds left, they didn't, essentially. And the fact that what had happened actually happened, number one. Second of all, happened against the Raiders. The Raiders, a team that has a losing record, has had a losing record for a very long time now. It's mind-boggling. And we'll kind of explain what happened here in about a minute or two. But there's always, the saying, you can say this about a lot of things, but there's a saying that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And I sure as heck hope what had happened never happens again and just stays there for eternity. Because that was literally the worst ending in not only Patriots history, but I think NFL history. And I sure as heck hope that never happens again. And with yesterday's loss, the chances of the Patriots making the playoffs decreased dramatically. All right, I was watching one of the recaps of the NFL yesterday evening after most of the games had ended, and the chances of the Patriots making the playoffs, as long as they won yesterday, were I think like 66%. It was definitely above 60%. And now the chances of them getting a playoff spot are like just over 20% since they lost. And so it's dramatically different. It's such a different scenario now because we basically needed to win out the rest of the season in order to secure at least a wild card spot at best. And the fact that we try to bet on ourselves to beat a team that we should have beat, it's not a good look that we ended the game the way we did. So even the first half, first half of the game, offense again did nothing. Defense did nothing. It looks like we were a peewee team trying to just be present in the moment. So we were down for the count really the first and second quarter. We looked horrible. I know if you look back at the tweets I sent out and then some of the posts I made, we looked terrible. And it just did not look like the Patriots cared. And, just looking at the score now, the Patriots were down 17-3. So they literally could not do anything. And it got to a point where the Patriots got the score back to 16-17. And then, this was second half, okay? So bear with me as I go through this painful situation. So second half, the Patriots got the score 16-17. Hope was on the rise. And then we marched down the field offensively, scored a touchdown, and then got the 2-point conversion to make the score 24-17. At that point, I figured the game was basically done. I thought it was a done deal. Didn't have to worry about anything. And then the Raiders decided more specifically Derek Carr, decided to throw the ball all the way downfield. Okay? And this is where things got interesting because the receiver caught the ball in the end zone, got 1 foot down, but the second foot was the questionable concern. And so at first they called the ball, but obviously at that point, the referees and the umpires have to go back and review the play. And so when they started showing the replays of it, okay, it showed that the second foot was out. At least the receiver's toes were out, that were on the white line. And both angles of it showed that there was enough evidence that could have overturned it. And what made it interesting was that the referees came back out, said it was a touchdown, but not too long after the game ended, one of the senior analysts within the NFL came out with the statement. They were questioning him about the call. All right, and so bear with me as I quote the question here. So, in replay review, it appeared the receiver's left foot was on the white. Was that not visible in replay? All right, Anderson, the last name of the person who was the analyst here, said, and I quote, "We looked at every available angle and it was not clear and obvious that the foot was on the white. It was very tight, very close. There's no shot that we could see. We even enhanced and blew up the views that we had. There was nothing that was clear and obvious that his foot was touching the white." So then there's a second question that I screenshotted here. And the question was, did you have a down the sideline angle to aid you in your review? No, we did not, said Anderson. Probably the best view that we had, we term a high end zone view. TV gave us the most enhanced view that they had as well. We blew it up, and I believe TV blew it up, and there was nothing that was clear and obvious either way. And they went on to say, had there been more views and angles, we may have judged it accordingly. But with the 2 or 3 different angles that they had, it was still evident enough that it should have been called differently. It could have been called differently. But at the end of the day, they didn't. So the analysts in New York, the referees there in Las Vegas, judged the call accordingly to as they apparently saw fit and not what the call should have been. So it was a touchdown. Las Vegas tied the game, and then it got to a point where there was only a couple seconds left. Like the Patriots had the ball, well, a couple seconds referring to about 32 seconds left. Patriots had the ball. At that point, they were already on third down and had a long, long ways to go. So it's not like they could have kicked a field goal or anything. They were way out of field goal range. And so, honestly, what they should have done was just either kneeled the ball, spiked the ball, or just run it out entirely, just because at that point, everybody knew they were going to go into overtime. But instead, they ran the ball to this whole crazy lateral thing where, they were just throwing the ball back to try to keep the play alive. Literally the clock went to 0 seconds. They were still trying to do this crazy sort of thing to try to get a touchdown. Literally run like a 70-yard play. And, it pains me to say this, but I'm going to say it. Jacoby Myers decided to throw the ball backwards about 10 yards all the way across the opposite side of the field to Mac Jones, since he was isolated in a way, but there were multiple Raiders players in between Jacoby Myers and Mac Jones. But instead, Jacoby Myers tosses it across the field about 10 yards behind him, and one of the Las Vegas Raiders players caught it, threw Mac Jones to the ground, and ran it all the way back to their end zone and scored a touchdown. And I don't know what they marked it up as. I'm assuming maybe it was an interception. But either way, that's how the Patriots game ended. The worst ending that you could possibly have. The most dramatic and idiotic ending that you could possibly think of happened. And now the Patriots find themselves, like I said not too long ago, they find themselves in a circumstance where the playoff picture looks awfully bleak. The chances of them getting there have decreased immensely. And now they find themselves at a 7-7 record, at a .500 record, and now they face the Bengals on the 24th, also on Christmas, and then see they face the Dolphins at home on January. So it looks like the next two games are home. So on the 24th against the Bengals, on January 1st against the Dolphins. Both of those games are at 1 o'clock. And then the last game of the regular season, they are on the road on January 8th against the Bills. And all the news articles are saying how they just can't stop laughing about what had happened on Sunday evening. Pain. And I know there's a lot of aggravation around the call that the refs had made that we had described in detail, but that's all we have for now. So do with this what you will. Oh, it's painful. But anywho, this is the Foul Ball Podcast, presented by the Foul Ball Podcast, and as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, everything related to us can be found at our website, foulballpodcast.org. See you all soon.